Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel. For those that are new to me, we are talking about a multi-dimensional approach to healing from narcissistic abuse cycles, and not only that, to radically transforming our lives into our most abundant, sovereign, authentic selves, to create from our hearts and fulfill our true life purpose on the planet, which is to be fulfilled through your full expression. Yeah? If you don't know me, amongst other things, I'm a psychic and a channel, but I have a lot of experience in developing and coaching and mentoring people in personal development, soul-driven leaders in business development. And yeah, so I incorporate a very integrated approach of many different modalities, as well as my own healing modality, which creates rapid transformation. People do not come to me in healing containers for very long, because I don't believe we're meant to be healing. Yes, healing is an ongoing journey, but not chronic healing for the rest of our lives. I incorporate healing just by an awareness of my triggers, and I'm constantly working to improve myself. But, you know, we shouldn't be constantly I believe in personal growth, right? And part of that is healing alongside of it. But it should feel expansive when we get aligned. It should feel an expansive way to grow myself, not to have to keep fixing myself and not getting anywhere. So I've got a very different approach. I work energetics and emotions first, right? Spiritual awakening, and then working on the mind to create the right foundations, belief systems, structures to support us in the reality we want to experience. If you don't know about manifestation, it's just the idea that we are the co-creators with the divine of our own reality, that we actually can intentionally choose what we desire to experience on the planet, and any desire coming from our heart holds enormous power. But when you're traumatized, you can't create, because you can't imagine your future. You're just in a trauma response, dealing with the now, the fight and flight response, right? I do come on here, my hair's all wet because I am a channel. And so when a message wants to come through me, I need to record it then and there. You know, like, it's not, I know my stuff, but it's more that the transmission that I do is so elevating because I'm working energetically with you when I speak and when I hold you in one of my containers, right? If you are new to my channel, there's a lot of content here that will radically shift you. People are writing to me every day about shifts they're having in their life, ways they're managing to handle situations differently. So just by listening, you're going to get an elevation into your power, into your truth, and start breaking these psychic ties, trauma bonds, hooks and enmeshment. So if you are not new, I love you. I love you all. I love you all, new or not new. But please remember, like, if you're dealing with certain things, go back and re-listen. You'll get a higher transmission. You'll hear something differently. You'll feel something differently, because as you shift, it's the same work at every level, right? We just deepen. Yeah, my principles, I work with you, whatever stage you're at, and I have clients that then go on and create businesses, big businesses, changing the world, right? And I do different things with them in terms of visionary work and stuff, but at the same time, our healing work isn't dealing with chronic PTSD in the same way, but it certainly is the same principles, and many of the principles, especially when it comes to wealth, abundance, spirituality, you know, at different levels, like deepening this work so there is deeper levels of this work, and you need a strong foundation to, you know, launch your life, your new life off. But you need to know, because when you're in narcissistic abuse, there's no vision for your future. It's very hard to have one, not a soul-driven one, not a heart-driven one, because your heart is like on the defense. You're not in touch with your intuition. You're not in your body, and your body is the one that speaks to you through your intuition, through your heart, into your most abundant, beautiful life. But we don't desire from there. We just need to survive. That was the hardest thing, right? Because you can't connect. And if you do connect, it's a big wobble. So, you know, even if I did push myself to manifest, I'd get in so much scarcity and lack. I'd go through these, like, and then I was in so much, I'd lose things, and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't bear the loss. I can't go for anything again because I can't bear how much this hurts, right? There's lots in this, there's tons in it. But the topic of today is, well, this video is why you'll never be enough for the narcissist, right? And then I'm going to give you some tools, just some simple tools. My work, I take the complexity out of personal development, out of healing, definitely out of therapy, although I have got, you know, a background in psychology. Sorry about that. My hair's wet. We're gonna have to just deal with the situation, but I've got wispy dry bits now, like tickling my nose. Okay, sorry about that. tools to radically shift your life. So I'm going to give you a consciousness elevation here so that you get something differently. You're never going to be enough for the narcissist, because the narcissist's whole goal is to literally beat you down. So anything that is special, which is everything about you, by the way, your empathy, your compassion, your heart is the best thing about you. The fact that you love and want to be loved is the best thing about you. The fact that you're kind enough, compassionate enough, and that's part of the reason why you get stuck in these cycles, giving people a million chances, wanting to see the best of them. That is such a beautiful quality in you, and there is no way on this planet that is supposed to not be there. It's just not meant to be used on soul-detached entities that are demonic. Yeah, and the right people, you show that compassion. Some people have prayed for someone like you. Never forget, these are the best things about you. And anything unique about you, unusual about you, that you care about, that turns you on, that makes you passionate about life, that is something that you like, uniquely you, those are the magical things. And if I knew them about you, I'd be enthralled by you, enchanted by you. They're your magic. That's what makes us individual, unique, and beautiful. I love our diversity. I love our differences, right? So the narcissist knows that for the right people, those things are magical, and they will try and pull them down. So you'll never be enough, because the whole goal of the narcissist is to diminish you. Yeah? So as long as you believe you're not enough, you're never enough, you'll keep chasing the narcissist, you keep trying to be better, and then they can make you jealous and triangulate you and play things off, and they'll show you people who are richer than you. And then if you try and get richer, or they're poorer than you, or they're thinner than you, or they're fatter than you, or they're prettier or more handsome, or it won't matter what it is. It's this never changes. You'll never be enough, and then you'll leave and you'll have tried to be some of those things they wanted, or you'll try and be some of those things that you wanted, and they'll leave you for someone who's the opposite. And you'll be left wondering, but I was better. I did so good. Like, they're like this. You'll never be enough, because the whole game, is to make you know that you don't matter, keep you stuck in the two subconscious programs that they implant in your brain. Is this a narcissist, and will they change? So you keep hanging on even after you're apart, right? With some psychic attachment to the fact that they may have some kind of growth and they may change, which means that they can come back and dip in whenever they choose into your energy supply, which is why sometimes even after a decade they'll come back. No accountability as usual for what they did to you. No, they're not going to want to talk about it, even if it's been a day or a year. They're just going to want to go back in as if nothing happened and siphon your energy. Is it a narcissist? Has this person changed? If you're living in those questions, look at all the videos on narcissists here. The one question, we don't need to get in this crazy circus of like what's going on in the industry of like defining different types of narcissists, as far as it takes to identify them. If you identify them, you know you're dealing with a demon, right? And it's time to really radically look at yourself and your quality of life. So there is no goal of the narcissist other than to make you feel totally worthless. And anything that's magical, unique, and everything unique is magical about you, and your heart is your best quality. Your empathy is your best quality. Don't let them make you believe that because it was your empathy and compassion that's part of the reason you're there. Not the only reason. It's multidimensional, as I keep explaining, and there's a lot of content on that. But don't let you believe for a minute that that is not the most wonderful thing on this planet. Empathy is going to change our world. It's our lack of empathy and compassion for each other that is causing a lot of imbalance in our culture and society, lack of community and lack of connection generally. We should be a we culture. We should understand that, there is so much more that connects us than what separates us. For whatever culture, whatever gender, whatever preferences, there is so much more that connects us, and that starts in our hearts. And that actually starts in celebrating and being, I love so much about our differences. That is what's so wonderful. So don't let them ruin the best thing about you by believing that you've got to protect yourself and defend yourself. You just don't understand how to be sovereign yet. You don't understand boundaries and standards, and you've been traumatized by this demonic entity. So that's why you'll never be enough. Here's some tools. One thing to elevate your consciousness. The quality of your life is going to completely depend on the quality of the decisions that you make. right? And that can sound tough because, of course, we didn't have the knowledge and awareness. So that's why I'm giving you it all here, as much as I can. I'm going to give it all to you to understand, because like when you do, it changes things. Now, you could say, well, I was born into a narcissistic family. I was and heavily abused, right? So I didn't have enough awareness then, but I still chose my heart. I still chose not to be like them, but you don't have to have done. You couldn't, there are people that aren't, you might not have felt like that. It's nothing to do with anything being wrong with you. But as soon as you do wake up, then you can take control. Now you're in the driving seat. The quality of your decisions is going to affect the quality of your life. Yeah? So you can decide how much energy you give them and what you're going to do to heal. You can decide you matter. You can be obsessed with investing in yourself. This is not just about investing in yourself, right? Emotionally, physically, spiritually, in your personal development and growth and healing when you are in chronic crisis. This is about a journey of being committed to your own evolution and growth, right? Some of the most empowering moves I made were massive financial commitments when I was living in a trailer and could barely afford food, right? When I finally started getting my abundance right and healed. My first move was not to buy things in the material world. It was on me. Yeah? I was putting myself in places where I now knew I could belong again. But it started with a decision. It started with a really strong decision that this was not going to be my life, that there was more to this, that I would find it, and it wasn't an easy journey. I talk a lot about spirituality. True spirituality is strength. It takes enormous strength for me to hold my heart, not turn, not be bad, not be petty, not be jealous, to choose to heal, not react. Yeah, to not just be a reaction to everything happened to me, which is trauma. See, when what gets in the way of you making better decisions in your life is trauma, because in trauma you're a constant response, because you're in fight and flight, you're being reactive, you're being triggered. You've got to break that. Yeah. And if you can, the more you can regulate, there's lots of tools here, come into your body. So there's a pause between the response. You're not just a human reaction. Yeah. You're a human being who's now processing in the body, healing, that's now igniting your intuition, your spiritual gifts, your knowledge, your heart, right? And there's a gap. And now you can make different decisions, which is not to engage in the same way. To be aware of such great comments of people being in hard situations and not reacting in the old way. Now, if you can take control of your decisions, you take control of the quality of your life. You decide you matter, you invest in the right places in every way, because abundance comes from definite energy. You want to grow everything. It doesn't come from being in fear and deadlock and scarcity and lack. I was in those places and it was scary, and it does require strength in our energy first, because again, if you can't throw money at something, that's not the answer. But when you invest in definite energy with an intention, and you know to manage your energy and be strong and decide what it means, then you're a match for abundance in the universe. You're a match for it. So you want to get your energy strong and learn to hold it and not wobble back into old cycles, right? Again, sovereign, you've got until 1st or 2nd of April to join this round. It's only $555. Compared to therapy, this is like unbelievable, and it makes shifts. People are shifting in it. They are doing different things, making different decisions, right? You do it self-study, self-paced all around the world. It is nothing in terms of investment. If you really don't have it, you don't have it. And if you do have it, but you're not able to get in the right energy, then keep watching, because I'm going to elevate your abundance, because you want to do it as strong as you can. Doesn't mean you're not going to wobble, but you need to invest in your future. You need to know that you make a line in this sand. You decide in definite energy. The quality of your decisions determine the quality of your life. When you say, hey, I set new standards, right? Because again, I was teaching the other day, if you set a boundary, boundaries are not defense mechanisms. Boundaries are what I communicate to people very clearly before I interact, especially in intimate relationships or business. Yeah? So those are like deal breakers. You do this, end of story. Standards are what I'm wanting to create in connections, my standards for my life. Now, if I have terrible standards for myself, people aren't going to respect my boundaries or standards because if I look like a hypocrite, if I'm not in alignment, right? But when they can see that woman has a strong standard for how she treats herself, she's got herself. If she's, she looks after herself, not by how I look, by how I honor how I feel. Forget the external, forget the material. That's nothing compared to a focused, self-partnered relationship and a self-sourcing one where you're the creator of your own reality. And I teach that in Sovereign. And what that means is I've got my back, which means I don't have to fight you. But if Ellie wants to go home, she goes home. If Ellie wants to eat the whole tub of ice cream and that feels like the right thing right now because that's what the little girl inside of her wants, I'm not going to beat her up for that. Ellie is not going to be put in rooms that she's being drained in. I'm not going to criticize and judge and keep trying to fix myself. I work on my relationship with myself first. That's why my work is so transformational, because you are not ready to fix yourself, which is what you're doing in therapy a lot of the time, before you've partnered. Before you try and fix your anxiety, honor it. Before you try and escape your pain, honor it. Be with it. Process it. This is power. This is spiritual strength. This changes your life. It changes your world. It's the work of Sovereign, 6 modules, self-paced, self-learning. It's open to join until April 1st, 2nd, and then I'm live supporting it till April 17th, but you get the materials for life. All that means is you'll get a chance to ask me questions directly, right? That's it. And I'm holding the energy in a different way, but you'll still get the benefit from the work. There's energy in all my containers. For someone asking me, I want to do Sovereign, I want to be Sovereign, I've got other things for other things. I've got a money course, I've got a business course, I've got other things, a year membership, but that is a different thing. Sovereign is on one thing, your sovereignty, energetic strength and capacity to process emotions, to self-partner, self-focused, self-sourcing, a source to self. So you're not a match anymore for unhealthy others, right? You're not escaping your pain. You can hold your pain. You're then becoming, at the end of it, someone who's consciously choosing new belief systems, but you can't do it in trauma, right? Not very easily anyway, because everything you do, you're going to doubt yourself and beat yourself up, and everything's amplified in a negative way. So this is not, I do not believe, by the way, personal development in my world is not fake positivity. It's authentic truth. I'll get you definite. I'll get you partnered with yourself. Sovereignty is such a beautiful thing, because that's when I'm sovereign, when you're sovereign, you are so free to love, because you're already boundaried, your standards are intact, you know who you are, you know what you're about, and love is not scary, it's automatic, because you've got nothing to fear, nothing to defend, and you're not attracting narcissists and unhealthy, toxic situations. You have a better quality of your life, right? And there's a process I take you through. It is bite-sized. It's meant for people who are overloaded in the mind, overloaded in the body. 20 minutes maximum per piece. You listen a few times. Energy activations and clearings, light meditations, but they're a bit like, they're unique, because they work in subconscious, conscious and energetic field. My work is unique. It's revolutionary. People changing my, excuse me, throat chakra. I didn't ever own the power of my work fully in the world. I work with a lot of people through my time, and big leaders. I've taken people through a lot of things, even before I got ripped apart at the worst level by narcissists, right? So I've always been with the change makers in the world, but I've done extraordinary things with people, and I know how to do this, and I know the process. But what I didn't know until I really cracked this piece and got my whole life blown apart several times was the element of trauma, radically healing that, and what that means in terms of how do you use personal development tools, and what healing modality I had to develop and integrate and channel to be able to give that to you. Now I've got that. It's like, it's easy in personal development, easier to take people who are relatively good in their lives and make them exceptional. But what about the people who are in despair? What about the people who are in the most suffering? These are the people who have been narcissistically abused. They're in poverty or total financial lack, mentality. Now I had the challenge, because I was in all those things chronically. How do you deal with that? Physical symptoms, total emotional turmoil, total poverty, total destitution, despair, taking that and making that situation, raising the elevation, consciousness, being the channel for that. Now that is what I can do so quickly and so easily with people, because I had to do it for myself a couple of times. And it's strengthened my work in every other area. But what about that? What about those people who haven't got the money to go to the really expensive personal development events and stuff? What about bringing that work to the masses? Because now I can hold that and give it to you. Now it doesn't matter to me it matters to me so much, because I have been in so many of those situations. It matters to me where you are and how much you suffer. And I know what it feels like to feel like your life is so bleak. It matters to me so much. But what I mean is, It's nothing that I can't shift you out of, right? If you trust the not even trust the process, forget trust the process, because you probably don't have trust. If you just come if you just come in and keep listening, you'll notice the change. Even if not at first, you have programs. Maybe you think nothing works for you. I did. I thought I was the only person on the planet at one point this wasn't going to work for, right? Because I just didn't fit into any of the worlds I used to be in. Right? I was meant to be the lotus and literally be in the shittiest swamp and then rise. Yeah? And make my own world. Yeah? And in my world, there's us. There's us, the ones that are the misfits, the ones that don't necessarily fit in, don't even want to fit into anyone's mold, but want to be in our power, our authenticity, our truth, and do beautiful things on the planet. And a beautiful thing could just be, it's just your beauty on the planet. Every time you just smile at someone in a beautiful energy, it lights up the world. You have a ripple effect on everyone you meet, even a small conversation, even 10 minutes, right? So like, don't underestimate. You don't have to go out and do anything that you consider great, because being great is being able to love and love fully and love freely and receive love. But you can't do that until you're sovereign, because it's not safe, especially if you don't understand the predators, and even not the predators, even healthier people. You need to understand boundaries, standards, sovereignty. Yeah? At that point, you can love. And that's the one thing you want, to be loved, to be fully you, to be able to be fully you. That's the biggest trauma, is not being able to be fully expressed. All kids want to do that. If you think about kids when they're playing, sorry, I know the time's going on the climbing frames at the park, they're always like, mummy, mummy, look at me, until they get taught to quieten down, not show off. Yeah? That there's something wrong with them, until they see their friend who does it a bit differently. And then that friend people like more, until they learn to doubt themselves, right? Yeah? Anyway, please join Sovereign if you can. There's something that happens in the universe when you put definite energy in and you decide, I'm in that room and my time is now, right? And when you do that, the universe will yield. Money comes, things come, but only do it if you're in the right energy. And do not cheat yourself out of your transformation and the value of the work I'm sharing here, because it is the work that people talk about in the highest level personal development classes in the world that costs way more than, coming onto a YouTube channel and listening. I'll keep these videos bite-sized so you can keep listening to them. You know what I mean? Like, don't cheat yourself out of your transformation, because this stuff will shift you whether you come into Sovereign or not. But if you can come in and your time is now, then do that, because it will change your world, right? And it's an opportunity that I'm sharing with you right now. So if you saying it's me, join that. Please email me though, because I've got to send you the specific links, depending on where you are in the world. Other than that, I love you guys. Keep commenting, keep sharing. Please subscribe. Please share my work to the world. Let's literally shift this distorted paradigm that we're calling narcissism, which is much more than that, on the planet. Lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.